Erev Tov Rabotai, we are continuing with our Mishna Yomi, Masechet Ketubot. We are up to Perek Zayin, Mishnah Aleph. Today's Mishnah should be Le'elu Nishmat, Neria ben Svetlana Ranbayev, Eliyahu ben Burcha Israelov, and Chana bat Miriam, Menuchatam beGan Eden, Amen. And Le'avdil ben Chaim L'Chaim, for the Refuah Shelema of Daniel Shalom ben Rosa, Betor Shah Chulei Israel. The first 5 Mishnayot of this chapter deal with various cases in which a wife is prohibited by a vow and neder to have benefit from something or to perform certain activity. The first Mishnah speaks of a vow that prohibits a wife to have benefit from her husband. The Mishnah begins, Amadir et ishto milehanot lo. This is the law where one made a vow that prohibits his wife to have benefit from him, which forbids her to use any money or goods that he gives her for support. Just a background, the commentaries explain, a person can make something biblically prohibited by uttering a neder, a vow. For example, if he says, I hereby make a neder that this apple is forbidden, he is biblically forbidden to eat or have any benefit from the apple. If he owns the object, he can even prohibit it to other people. However, if he does not own it, he can prohibit it only to himself and not to anybody else. Therefore, if a husband said, I hereby make a neder that my wife may not benefit from me, the neder will not forbid her to cohabit with him. Since he is obligated to provide her with marital intimacy, it is regarded as though she owns it, and he cannot prohibit to her something that she owns. And this line of reasoning should also apply to the food and clothing that a husband must give his wife. Since he is obligated to give her those things, it should be impossible for him to forbid them to her. Our Mishnah, which implies that he can forbid them, refers to a specific case, namely where the husband and wife had agreed that she would support herself with her own income. In that circumstance, he is not obligated to support her, provided that her income is enough to cover her expenses. So therefore, his neder indeed prohibits her to benefit from food or clothes he might provide her. That is how the Rav explains the Mishnah. So the Mishnah says, Ad shloshim yom yamid parnas. For up to 30 days, he may appoint a steward to support her. In this way, he provides for his wife without making her violate the vow. Now, there are 2 ways to understand this. A, the husband stated in the neder that the prohibition will last for a certain period that is not longer than 30 days. Or B, even if he made no such limitation and the neder was intended to last forever, he is not required to divorce her until 30 days have passed, because he might be able to have the neder annulled in that time. Under certain circumstances, a neder can be annulled by a sage who is an expert in these matters, or by a court of 3 judges, as the Gemara discusses in Masechet Nedarim, page 21b and 22a. Now, like we explained earlier, the Mishnah refers to a wife who supports herself. So the Gemara therefore asks, why does the husband have to appoint a steward if we're referring to a woman who can take care of herself? The Gemara answers that the Mishnah speaks of a wife who came from a wealthy background, so the steward is needed to provide her with the luxuries to which she was accustomed in her father's house, because we have learned that if a man marries a woman from a wealthy family, he must treat her accordingly, as we saw in chapter 5, Mishnah 9. Before the husband made the neder, she said that she would forgo her rights and endure his lower standard of living. But once he made the neder, which makes it forbidden for him to treat her as he should, she was no longer willing to make this concession to him. At that point, therefore, he became obligated to provide her with the extra things to which she is entitled, and he had to appoint a steward to give them to her. And the husband may not directly ask someone to be his wife's steward, because that person would then be his legal agent, and the rule that shlucho shel adam kmoto, a person's legal agent is like himself, would dictate that benefiting from the steward is like benefiting from the husband. Instead, he has to make a general announcement. Anyone who supports my wife will not lose out, meaning he can expect reimbursement but cannot demand it, and the husband hopes that someone volunteers. Since it's a statement rather than a request, and he addressed the statement to the general public rather than to a particular person, so it's both. He made it a statement and it was to the general public, not to a particular person. The individual who volunteers is not considered to be his shliach, his legal agent. Yater miken yotzi v'iten ketubah, but after more than 30 days, he must divorce her if she wants and give her the ketubah that is owed her. He may not support her to a steward for longer than a month, because the arrangement will eventually become public knowledge and cause her embarrassment. Now the next Tana distinguishes between a husband who is a Kohen and one who is not a Kohen. In his opinion, a Kohen is given extra time because once a Kohen divorces his wife, he is biblically prohibited to take her back. Rabbi Yehuda says, B'Yisrael, if she is married to a Yisrael and non-Kohen, Chodesh echad yikayem, for 1 month he may keep her as his wife and appoint a steward. U'shnayim yotzi v'yiten ketubah, but after 2 months, he must divorce her if she wants and give her the ketubah, meaning after the first day of the second month. The first day of the second month is treated in this context like an entire month, and in this case he must divorce her if she wants and give her the ketubah. U'b'chohenet, however, if she is a wife of a Kohen, Shnai mikayem, for at least 2 months he may keep her as his wife and appoint a steward. Shlosha yotzi v'yitin ketubah, and only after 3 months, here the reference is to the end of the 3rd month. Only after 3 months must he divorce her if she wants and give her the ketubah. And the Rav does tell us, V'nelechak Rabbi Yehuda, the Halacha does not follow the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. That is Ranabotai of Perek Zayin Mishnah Aleph. We continue now with Mishnah Bet. If a wife makes a vow that causes her personal discomfort, for example, she prohibited a type of food to herself, or one that negatively affects her relationship with her husband, for example, she prohibited marital intimacy to herself, the husband can cancel the vow on the day that he hears about it. If he does not cancel the vow, but remains silent for the rest of the day, and certainly if he confirms it, the vow can no longer be canceled, as the Torah discusses in Sefer Bamidbar, chapter 30, verses 7 through 17. This Mishnah number 2, Bet, addresses a case where a wife made a vow that caused her discomfort, and her husband failed to cancel it. Hamadir et ishto shelo titom echad mikol haperot. If one made a vow that his wife may not taste a certain type of fruit, which the commentators explain, she made the vow and he did not cancel it. Obviously, the Mishnah cannot mean that the husband himself made the neder, because the person cannot prohibit to another person something that he does not own. So what we're referring to here is that she made the vow and he did not cancel it. Yotzi v'yitin ketubah, he must divorce her immediately if she wants and give her the ketubah. Since he did not cancel the vow, she feels that he hates her, which makes it unbearable for her to live with him. She can therefore demand an immediate divorce. In the previous Mishnah's case, where the husband made the vow, his wife did not necessarily feel that he hates her, because he might have made the vow in a sudden fit of anger and then calmed down. She is therefore not entitled to a divorce until after 30 days, when the vow becomes intolerable. In our case, however, where the husband did not start the trouble, it was she that made the vow and he then confirmed it or failed to cancel it. His behavior cannot be attributed to a sudden burst of anger. She thinks that he harmed her coldly and deliberately out of hatred for her. Therefore, she may demand the get immediately. Now, as in the previous Mishnah, Rabbi Yehuda distinguishes between a Kohen and a non-Kohen. Rabbi Yehuda says, B'Yisrael yom echad yikayem, if she is married to a Yisrael, a non-Kohen, he may keep her if the vow was intended to last 1 day. Since the vow was intended to last for only 1 day, it is tolerable. Therefore, even though the husband approved of the vow, she has no reason to think that he hates her. Shnayim yotzi v'yitin ketubah, and if it was intended to last 2 days, he must divorce her if she wants and give her the ketubah. U'b'chohenet, if she is the wife of a Kohen who cannot take her back after divorcing her, Shnai mikayem, he may keep her if the vow was for 2 days. Shlosha yotzi v'yitin ketubah, and if it was for 3 days, he must divorce her if she wants and give her the ketubah. And the Rav does tell us, V'let ilcheta kavateh, that Halacha does not follow the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. That is in Abotai of today's Mishna Yomi. Baruch Adonai Leolam. Amen v'amen.